Everyone always asks, where should I sell my cards? On eBay or whatnot?
Bruh.
And every time this conversation comes up, you have two sides. Most of the time you're hearing eBay fees are killing me, or over on eBay, or the eBay fees are ridiculous. And I get that. Nobody likes fees. Sometimes I think eBay gets a little bit of a bad rap, and a lot of times it isn't even the fees that are messing your sell up. It's usually people that are not selling consistently on the platform, using it every day or every other day, or listing consistently, or haven't optimized shipping profiles. They're letting eBay set their profiles for them, and then next thing you know, they're getting charged a ridiculous amount on their final values, shipping out of country, this, that, and the other. Or they don't understand promoted listings. They promote too much, or haven't learned some of the other little things that move the product and the algorithm. That doesn't mean that eBay is perfect by any means, but it has been around for a long time and probably will continue to be. And yeah, this sounds like I'm a little biased, but at the end of the day, just know that we buy and sell heavily on Whatnot too. We use both. So let's look at a real example real quick and get off my soapbox for a second. Here are two real sales. Both cards sold for $29.99 or $30. Same thing. We'll just call it $30. Both cards sold for $30. So let's look. On eBay, the buyer paid $30 flat, and after all the fees, we're talking the final value fee, the 12.3.5% fee, the taxes, all that stuff. We're netting $23.80. On Whatnot, we look and we see the buyer paid $29.99 for the price of the card, the subtotal. Usually, in all my other packing videos, that's usually what you see is subtotal. So they're charging you. The only difference is they're not charging you on the order total. eBay does charge you on the order total. So your earnings, $29.99 was the price you sold the card at. You got your 8% commission, and then they have another 2.9% order total plus another 30 cents. So if you really start looking at it, there's not much difference. What's the difference? What is that? 8, 9, 10.9%. So we're talking about 2% difference and a 10-cent
Bruh.
difference in the, eBay calls it the final value fee. They're 40 cents and then they got 30 cents here. That's it. And honestly, a lot of that gap is self-inflicted by us because we promote all of our eBay listings 2 to 3%. A lot of people disagree with promoted listings. I know there was some stuff that came out at the beginning of this year with how they're changing it, but from our storefronts, promoted versus non-promoted consistently gives us more visibility and more sales. So yes, our fees are slightly higher, probably closer to 15%, but to us that isn't a fee. That's a marketing tool that we use that we have proven to ourselves that works. Okay, let's zoom out real quick. Every business has overhead. We're talking rent, payroll, insurance, advertising, utilities. Nobody runs a business at 100% profit. Online selling is no different, whether if it's 12.35% on eBay or around 11 and some change on Whatnot. We look at that as overhead. And another thing people forget, a lot of us are running this out of the comfort of our home. We're not running it out of a storefront. We don't have a bunch of huge startup costs, no commercial leases, nothing like that. So that convenience has its own value in itself. So the question isn't, how do I avoid fees? It's what am I getting for the fees? And here's what you're getting. With eBay, buyers are finding your listings 24/7, whenever they want. Comfort of the car, at work, whatever. They can send offers whenever they want. You can build repeat buyers. You can control the shipping profiles. And at the end of the day, you wake up to orders, 10, 20 orders a day. And you wake up in the morning. So those are some of the benefits, not all of them. There's plenty more. With Whatnot, you get fast sales. You get great community. You build a community. You get strong live interaction with your buyers. You also build repeat buyers. You build a room and lower fees in many situations. And don't forget that your time has value too. If you're pulling inventory, if you're packing orders, you're running your live streams, building an audience. That costs money too. At the end of the day, for less than $3 in this specific example, we'll personally take eBay all day if it means putting inventory in front of a massive buyer pool while we are not live in front of people in our streams, because that reach matters. And whether people realize it or not, eBay still drives a huge amount of the hobby, the card community, the card business, whatever you call it. Comps that are being set on eBay, the ones that you're using in your whatnot shows, that's a different topic. People say, this is selling on eBay for this. Well, then go sell it on eBay. If you want that price, go sell it on eBay. But, I'm not going to get into that topic. But eBay still drives a huge amount of card comps, right? The comps you're using at card shows are in your whatnot shows. You're using your collection buyouts, if you're buying out collections, private sales, private auctions. So that doesn't make whatnot bad, though. At the end of the day, we use both. This isn't eBay versus whatnot. We use each platform for what it does best. Whatnot moves cards fast. You build a customer base. You build a room. eBay works while you sleep. eBay gets to people that you're never going to talk to. So I'll leave it up to y'all. We believe each one has its place. What platform are y'all taking?